There is a moment in life when the paycheck stops arriving. For some people, that moment feels frightening. They look at their savings and wonder how long it will last. They look at their monthly expenses and realize that every purchase now carries a little more weight. The working years are over, but the need for security remains. For others, retirement feels completely different. There is no dramatic lifestyle, no enormous mansion, no collection of luxury cars. Just a quiet home, manageable expenses, enough savings, and the confidence that tomorrow doesn't need to be feared. This difference isn't always created by a huge income. Sometimes, it comes from how someone lived decades before retirement ever arrived. In Japan, many ordinary people have traditionally approached money with a long-term mindset. They don't necessarily try to become rich quickly. Instead, they build a life where financial pressure slowly becomes smaller. They save consistently. They avoid unnecessary lifestyle inflation. They continue developing useful skills. They spend carefully. And they understand that retirement isn't something you prepare for during your final working years. It's something you build quietly throughout your entire life. The Japanese concept of Kakeibo teaches conscious spending. Kaizen teaches continuous improvement. And the spirit of Shokunin teaches patience and mastery. Together, these ideas reveal something powerful. Comfortable retirement doesn't always come from extraordinary wealth. It can come from creating an ordinary life that doesn't require extraordinary amounts of money to maintain. Today, we're going to explore the Japanese method of building quiet wealth and why ordinary people may be able to create a surprisingly comfortable future by changing the way they think about money today. The slow harvest. A farmer plants a field knowing something important. The harvest will not come tomorrow. There is no shortcut. The soil must be prepared. The seeds must be planted. The crops must be protected. Then comes the hardest part, waiting. For months, the field may appear almost unchanged, yet beneath the surface, roots are developing, and the plants are slowly becoming stronger. Building retirement wealth works the same way. Many people look at retirement planning and become discouraged by the numbers. They see the amount they think they'll need and immediately conclude that they're too far behind. But the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen offers another perspective. Instead of focusing entirely on the final destination, focus on improving the process. Maybe you increase your savings slightly, then improve your spending habits, then learn more about investing, then eliminate one unnecessary expense, then increase your income through a useful skill. The improvement doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to continue. Psychologists call this goal gradient and incremental progress. People are more likely to remain committed when large goals are divided into smaller, visible steps. A distant retirement can feel overwhelming. A better financial decision this month feels manageable. That distinction matters, because retirement isn't built during one extraordinary year. It's built across thousands of ordinary months. A small amount invested repeatedly can eventually become substantial through compounding. But the financial mathematics is only part of the story. The deeper advantage is psychological. Every year of consistent behavior strengthens your confidence. You become accustomed to living below your maximum income. You become less dependent on constant consumption. You become comfortable waiting. And eventually, saving no longer feels like something you're sacrificing for retirement. It simply becomes part of how you live. The farmer doesn't dig up the seed every morning to check whether it's growing. He trusts the process. Quiet wealth works the same way. You plant, you maintain, you wait, and one day, the harvest becomes visible. The smaller house. A family moves into a modest home. It isn't the largest house in the neighborhood. The kitchen is simple. The furniture is comfortable but not extravagant. There is enough space for everyone, but not much more than they actually need. At first, someone might look at the house and think the family could afford something bigger. But they have made a different calculation. Every extra room has a cost. More space means more maintenance. A larger home often means higher utilities, taxes, repairs, and insurance. The purchase price is only the beginning. This is where the Japanese idea of Mottainai, becomes useful. Mottainai expresses a respect for resources and a reluctance to waste what still has value. Applied to financial life, it encourages a simple question: do I need more, or do I simply want more? That question becomes increasingly important as income rises. Psychologists call this lifestyle inflation. When people earn more, they often increase their spending to match. A better salary becomes a better apartment, then a better car, then more expensive vacations. Eventually, the higher income doesn't create much additional freedom because the cost of maintaining the lifestyle has risen alongside it. Quiet wealth takes the opposite approach. When income increases, not every extra dollar needs to become a permanent expense. Some can improve your future instead. This doesn't mean living miserably. It means understanding the difference between comfort and excess. A comfortable home can provide everything a family needs. A larger home may provide more space, but also more financial responsibility. The goal isn't to own the smallest house possible. It's to avoid building a life where every future paycheck is already committed to maintaining today's lifestyle. Because retirement becomes much easier when your lifestyle is flexible. A person who needs less has more choices. They can retire earlier, work fewer hours, handle unexpected expenses, or simply enjoy the years ahead without constantly worrying about maintaining an expensive image. The quietest form of wealth may be the freedom to say, "I have enough." The second skill. A craftsman enters his workshop early in the morning. His tools are old, his hands are experienced, but he still practices. He doesn't assume that because he has worked for 20 years, he has nothing left to learn. He studies new techniques. He improves small details. He stays useful. This reflects the spirit of Shokunin, the pursuit of mastery through continuous practice. And this philosophy has an important financial lesson. Your greatest financial asset isn't always your savings. Sometimes it's your ability to keep creating value. People often think retirement planning means saving enough money to stop working forever. But there is another possibility. What if you build enough financial security that work becomes optional rather than compulsory? That is a very different goal. You might choose to work fewer hours. Teach something you've mastered. Consult, create, repair, write, mentor, run a small business, or simply continue doing work you enjoy without needing it to support your entire lifestyle. Psychologists describe this as self-efficacy, the confidence that comes from knowing you can solve problems and create results. Skills provide that confidence. Skills can remain valuable long after a traditional career changes. This is especially important because retirement can last decades. Your financial needs may change. Your interests may change. Your health may change. The economy may change. Having useful abilities gives you another layer of resilience. Quiet wealth, therefore, isn't only about accumulating money. It's about accumulating capability. Every skill you develop is another tool in your financial toolbox. Learning to communicate better, understanding technology, becoming better at managing people, learning a practical trade, developing expertise that others value. These investments may never appear on a bank statement, but they can influence your earning power for decades. A retirement built only on money can feel fragile. A retirement supported by money, skills, adaptability, and confidence is much stronger. The craftsman doesn't stop sharpening his tools because he has already become good. He keeps sharpening them because tomorrow may require a different kind of work. The quiet margin. A small boat rests near the edge of a harbor. It isn't racing. It isn't carrying an enormous cargo. It simply floats calmly because there is enough space around it. When the tide rises, it rises. When the water falls, it adjusts. There is room to move. That room is important. Financial life needs the same thing. Many people build their lives so tightly around their income that even a small problem creates a crisis. A repair, a medical bill, a temporary loss of income, a family emergency. Suddenly, the entire financial structure feels unstable. Japanese thinking often values ma, the importance of space, and the meaning created by what is deliberately left open. In financial life, that space can mean margin, an emergency fund, low fixed expenses, a manageable amount of debt, savings that aren't immediately committed, a little room between what you earn and what you spend. This margin may not look impressive, but it creates something incredibly valuable: control. Psychologists have found that financial uncertainty can consume significant mental attention. When every month feels like a race against the next expense, the mind becomes focused on immediate survival rather than long-term planning. A financial margin changes that experience. You can think, you can wait, you can make decisions without panic. And that becomes especially important during retirement. When your regular paycheck disappears, flexibility becomes more valuable than appearances. A person with moderate savings and low expenses may feel more secure than someone with larger assets but enormous monthly obligations. This is why quiet wealth isn't always visible. You can't photograph financial breathing room. You can't park it in a driveway. You can't wear it around your wrist. But you can feel it when something unexpected happens and you don't immediately panic. The strongest financial life isn't necessarily the one with the most money moving through it. It's the one with enough space to absorb life's surprises. The long evening. An elderly man sits near a window as the evening light slowly fills the room. He isn't checking stock prices. He isn't comparing his possessions with anyone else's. He simply looks around. His home contains things he has used for years. A familiar chair, a few books, photographs, objects with stories attached to them. Nothing is particularly extravagant, but nothing feels empty either. This is where the Japanese idea of Wabi-sabi becomes powerful. It teaches an appreciation for simplicity, imperfection, and the passage of time. And it offers an important lesson about retirement. The goal isn't to create a future where you can endlessly consume. It's to create a future you actually enjoy living in. Psychologists distinguish between hedonic well-being, which comes from pleasure and comfort, and deeper forms of well-being connected to meaning, relationships, and purpose. Luxury can provide pleasure, but pleasure adapts. The expensive meal becomes ordinary. The beautiful house becomes familiar. The new car eventually becomes transportation. Meaning behaves differently. A morning walk with someone you love doesn't become worthless because you've experienced it before. A skill you've spent decades mastering doesn't become meaningless because it isn't expensive. A peaceful home doesn't lose its value because it isn't impressive to strangers. This is why retirement planning should involve more than numbers. Ask yourself what kind of life you're actually preparing to live. What will you do with your mornings? Who will you spend time with? What skills will you continue developing? What responsibilities will give your days structure? What simple pleasures will make ordinary weeks enjoyable? If you build an expensive retirement without building a meaningful life, the money may not provide the satisfaction you expected. But if you build a modest life filled with purpose, relationships, health, curiosity, and enough financial security to protect your freedom, retirement can become something very different. Not an ending, a quieter beginning. The quiet wealth. Retirement rarely becomes comfortable because of one brilliant financial decision. It becomes comfortable because decades of ordinary decisions slowly point in the same direction. You save before you need the money. You keep your lifestyle manageable even when your income rises. You continue learning instead of assuming your earning years are fixed. You create financial breathing room. And you learn to appreciate a life that doesn't require constant upgrading to remain satisfying. This is the deeper lesson behind Japanese quiet wealth. It's not about becoming rich enough to impress everyone. It's about becoming secure enough that you don't need to. The philosophy of Kaizen reminds us to improve gradually. Mottainai reminds us not to waste what already serves us. Shokunin reminds us to keep developing our abilities. Ma reminds us to leave room in our lives. And Wabi-sabi reminds us that a meaningful life doesn't need to be perfect or extravagant. Together, these ideas create a very different picture of retirement. You don't need to build a spectacular life. You need to build a sustainable one. A life where your expenses don't constantly chase your income. A life where your possessions don't control your decisions. A life where your skills continue to give you options. A life where your savings provide breathing room. And a life where you can eventually wake up without asking, how much do I need to keep working? Instead, you can ask a much better question. What would I like to do with this day? That may be the quietest definition of financial freedom. Not having everything. Not spending endlessly. Not proving that you've succeeded. Just having enough security, enough flexibility, and enough purpose to live according to your own priorities. Because the greatest retirement isn't the one that looks wealthy from the outside. It's the one that feels peaceful from the inside. Quiet wealth is not built through one huge paycheck or one perfect investment. It's built through decades of ordinary choices. It becomes a new chapter, a quieter one, a chapter where your time finally belongs to you. If this story gave you a new perspective, leave a comment. What would a comfortable retirement look like for you? And if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories about Japanese philosophy, money, and quiet wealth. Because true wealth isn't retiring with the most money, it's retiring with enough freedom to enjoy the life you've built.